Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Reference Point. I'm your host, Dave Coker-Hook. Appreciate your being there to listen to us tonight. We're going to have a very interesting conversation with some gentlemen from an organization. The acronym is LISTA, L-I-S-T-A, which stands for Latinos in Information Sciences and Technology Association. I think you'll find this a very interesting discussion. And with me today are Mark Ruiz, who's one of the vice presidents over there at LISTA. And Mark, welcome. Thank you for being here this evening.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. And I'd like to correct it. I'm not actually a vice president, but I'm a member of LISTA.
You're a member of
LISTA.
You should have let it go. That's all right. But we're okay.
Okay.
So you're a member of LISTA. And
I am a member of LISTA, and I am
what that means.
Okay, great.
And Shad Mohammadi, actually.
Exactly.
But you're not Latino, Shad. I can
I'm
tell
not.
that right from your name. Shad is a VP for, is it membership for?
Absolutely correct.
For LISTA.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about what this organization is all about. I came across you guys through a meeting of Shad several weeks back at a completely different type of an event, a networking event, and learned a little bit about what you're doing. And I found it to be, I found it fascinating, and I think it's very interesting and appropriate and important for the viewers to understand what LISTA is all about. So who wants to take the first discussion and explain what is this organization?
Well, LISTA is a nationwide organization that is a trade group mostly for Latinos who are in information sciences and technology. And it's a nationwide organization. It's got a large presence on the East Coast. And we recently founded the Northern California Bay Area in Sacramento, Silicon Valley, Sacramento division of LISTA. And the whole purpose of the organization is to help nurture the careers of Latino technology professionals.
Oh, okay. So they might start their own company, or they might want to go to work for Facebook or IBM or something
Cisco,
Okay. So, and what was the catalyst behind actually putting an organization like this together? How did that come about?
I'd love to explain, at least with the Northern California. See, I'm a co-founder of a technology company in the Silicon Valley called Record Logics, and we specialize in cloud document management and document storage for attorneys. I'm also an attorney, and so my father's also been involved with Record Logics. He's also a co-founder, and he had a friend in Sacramento who about 5-6 months ago was talking about putting together an organization for Hispanic business people in the technology sector.
Right.
And we went up to Sacramento and met these people. At the time, there were about 3 people. There was Jorge Avila. There was another gentleman by the name of Alejandro Castro, and these people are in Sacramento, and they're technology professionals. One has his own company, the other works in the state IT department. And we started brainstorming about starting some sort of like trade organization for Latinos in technology. We found that there was kind of a need because they don't really have one in this area. So we decided to start a chapter of LISTA, which is based on the East Coast in Atlanta.
So the Northern California organization is relatively new. Is that correct, Shad?
Yeah, absolutely. Just we got started at the beginning of this year in January 2013.
Okay.
And as Mark mentioned, LISTA is an organization that's really working towards empowering the Latino community to pursue becoming technology entrepreneurs, technology executives, technology professionals. We're both co-founders of a software company, of a cloud computing company, and we've benefited a great deal from living in Silicon Valley and seeing the benefits of entrepreneurship. And again, Silicon Valley being the epicenter of entrepreneurship, and there's a large Latino population in the U.S., and especially here, we thought it would make sense to do a social cause of promoting the entrepreneurship within the Latino community, which is not as predominant as other immigrant communities.
In terms of their involvement with science and technology.
Yes.
What you mean? Okay.
Yes.
So all right, so let's talk about that a little bit. The national organization was started back east, I guess, right?
That's correct.
New York area, up down
the
the
eastern seaboard.
New York.
And I did get a chance to meet a gentleman at the event that you guys had a couple of weeks ago, who is, I guess, the president of the national organization.
Yeah.
That's
Jose Marquez.
Jose
Marquez.
Right.
And very interesting fellow. I really enjoyed conversation with him. And so what was it about the organization that you here in NorCal thought it made sense to collaborate with this? Why start your own chapter? You saw a need to try to bring members of the community together around this concept. So why hook up with these guys on the East Coast as opposed to just doing your own thing?
Well, let me answer that. I mean, LISTA has been around for about 10 to 12 years, started by Jose Marquez, so it was predominantly stronger towards the East Coast, and it didn't have a presence on the West Coast and Silicon Valley. So just being entrepreneurs and growing up as entrepreneurs, we did some research along with our other board member, Chester Ruiz, who I believe you might have met.
Yes.
Yeah, so he kind of did some research and identified this organization, LISTA, that existed previously, started 10 years ago by Jose Marquez. And the background with that is Jose Marquez is trained as an engineer, technology professional, and he was at a United Nations conference and something to the effect where, they talked about getting people involved in technology and entrepreneurship. But he realized, what about taking this to the neighborhoods that really need it, the Latino communities? There's none that exist there. So Chester found this organization. We reached out to Jose Marquez, had them come over to the Nest GSV, which is an area that incubates startups.
Oh, right.
Where we held our first LISTA NorCal Silicon Valley annual conference, which was a big success, and we brought in successful, prominent Latino leaders, including Carlos Ramos, who was our keynote. So we had a wonderful event. Carlos, just to give you some background, is the current Chief Information Officer for the state of California. He's
right. I heard him speak, and very interesting gentleman. So let me ask you this question. Clearly, the name of the organization, I'm going to say it again, Latinos in Information Sciences and Technology Association. The name highlights information sciences and technology. And why that focus as opposed to, you're an attorney, okay? Why not some other type of industry classification? Why science and technology?
Well, within different ethnic groups, it's very common for them to have ethnic trade associations. So I'm an attorney, and there's the Hispanic Bar Association. They call it La Raza Bar Association. For real estate professionals, they have the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, NAREP. So it's very common for within each trade group to have like a trade association for different ethnic groups. There might very well be, I don't know, but like an Asian version of LISTA or a Persian version of LISTA. It's very common for within any given trade group to have ethnic trade associations. So this is the Latino Hispanic Trade Association for Information Sciences and Technology. But there's other, NAREP, for instance, is a very well-known example of a group that caters to Hispanic real estate professionals.
So what I'm taking away from what you just said is that while there are associations for other professions, there didn't seem to be one, at least here in Northern California. You guys did not observe that there was something for the Latino community in science and technology as there may have been in real estate or law or accountancy and that sort of thing.
Precisely.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
Got it. So when we look at the population here, California and associated states, Arizona and New Mexico close and all that sort of thing, has a very large Hispanic Latino community. I mean, the population is pretty. As a matter of fact, I think aren't there some numbers that the state of California
I could
has
give
said that
the
pretty soon,
demographics.
the demographics,
I think
there's going to be more Latinos than going to be anybody else here inside the state.
Already.
So what and are you finding that the association was put there to attract people into this industry classification, or are they already out there in great numbers and you're just trying to sort of coordinate?
I would say it's more the former
Right.
than the latter. And just to kind of, one of my interests is demographics. So basically, right now, Hispanics and non-Hispanic whites are at exact equal numbers in California. They're each at about 38, 39%.
Right.
So there's a huge need for it. But to date, not so many Hispanics, Latinos have gone into this field, and there's a number of sociological factors, that are responsible for that, which would be beyond the scope of this 30-minute program. But nonetheless, I think a great part of this is encouraging college-age students and people that are would-be entrepreneurs to pursue a career in technology.
Got it.
There are in this area a substantial amount of Hispanic, Latino professionals that are in technology, but another goal of this organization is to actually increase the numbers. So
Right.
That's part of it.
Toward what objective?
Well, the objective is really to, give back to the community and create jobs, working towards a positive social impact. Part of LISTA is that we want to empower the immigrant community. We know the whole United States was started by immigrants one way or the other. So we want to just make sure we can encourage people to pursue entrepreneurship, something that's positive, that creates jobs, that gives back to the community. So the objective is just to promote wealth creation within the community.
It's good business and good social policy to have a group that makes up, nearly 40% of the population of California to
Right.
participate in an industry where, quite frankly, that's where the economic wealth is being created. And so I think
True.
it's good business and it's good social policy.
It does make sense. And I noticed, I did go to this, your first annual conference here that you guys had. I got a little flyer from that. And I was at the event. And one of the things that struck me was that there were quite a few non-Hispanic individuals there who own a business or who were from a different industry classification or whatever, that for some reason found this to be of interest to them. And I'd like to explore that a little bit more and get a feel for you, because is this an outreach on your part, or did it just happen that way?
You could begin and then
Yeah,
I'll
so
chime in.
that's a great question, Dave. LISTA really is welcoming everyone. We're all inclusive. We welcome all groups, not just Latinos, but every single, minority, majority, whatever the group is, to get involved with the organization. We're not trying to be exclusive. And so, myself, I'm not Latino. I'm actually Iranian American, Persian, and I came here with my family in '78 during the Iranian Revolution to seek democracy, the land of opportunity and freedom, a better lifestyle. So, I realized my parents, Mark's parents, a lot of immigrant families have sacrificed for their children. So, we feel a responsibility to welcome people to help us, not just the Latino community, but everybody that believes in empowering the immigrants. So even though the focus is promoting entrepreneurship within the Latino community, becoming technology executives, business owners, technology professionals, we really welcome the support of everyone from the community to get involved.
Which is fantastic. And I think that kind of connectivity is going to be beneficial for everybody. I think we were talking about this before the show. A rising tide lifts all ships, so it can be very positive. So when you look at the community that you're looking to service through this, what is the current perception of, especially the younger people, right? Folks who are in my generation or my father's generation, or they look at science and technology and just like, you mean I got to try to figure out how to use this thing? What is all these devices keep changing? They're not even thinking about that, okay? But the people your age and younger are very attuned, for the most part, it seems, to the uses of smartphones and iPads and the cloud and all that sort of stuff. So what has been the receptivity within that generation, or those two generations of the community that you're looking to serve, of this kind of initiative?
Well, there's a great deal of acceptance, and what we found, and you saw at the at the LISTA conference, when the startups were pitching, they were all young people, people in their 20s and early 30s for the most part. The younger generation in general, whether you're talking whatever ethnic group, is going to tend to, embrace technology. And so we found a great deal of acceptance. The Nest, where our startup is located, most of the startups are people in the 20s and 30s, and there's a few of them that are Latino startups. There's one called Give You. There's another one called Oak Financial, which does transmitting money down south of the border through an app. So basically, to answer your question, the younger generation seems very eager to embrace technology, and they're also interested in entrepreneurship rather than going to work the traditional.
With somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, we could send you some studies from the Nielsen report and the Pew study that actually show the younger generation, specifically within the Latino community, are the most connected to the mobile devices and tablets. So they're looking to connect with us, with these types of organizations, and they're using technology at a faster pace than other minority groups.
I have a 3-year-old grandson who's already using his parents' iPads for things. So it's very clear that would be the case. So how do you reach out to... There's a difference between being a user of technology and being one of those individuals who are working in technology or starting a technology company and moving the whole process forward. And my understanding, or impression at least, is that one of the objectives for LISTA is to get people involved in working in the technology and science field and or starting businesses in that field. So how do you reach out to the community that's a user and get them to become a doer, an entrepreneur?
Well, 15 years ago when the internet was beginning, the digital divide referred to the difference of adoption rates of technology between different ethnic groups. Now all ethnic groups have the internet. All ethnic groups consume technology. They have their smartphones, they have internet access. Now the area where we're trying to improve is actual participation in technology. And how do you do that? I think a lot of it does begin by reaching out to people, college, high school type students, getting them excited about technology, getting them excited about entrepreneurship.
And do you guys have programs, or are you looking to implement programs that would reach out to those folks?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We do have programs right now. We're working with, for example, Sacramento and the state capital of California with, Carlos Ramos and other individuals that are top policy decision makers in private and public sectors that are reaching back to our members and teaching them, providing workshops and how they can get involved by getting grants from the government to start their own technology companies, and also partnering with other organizations like Manos Accelerator, which is the first incubator accelerator for tech startups started by Latino entrepreneurs. So we've partnered with them. They partnered with Google, had a big event, and really just providing a national network of mentors and coaches and advisors that can reach back to the people interested from the community, Latino community, to start their own technology companies.
So you guys are in this for the long haul. This is
Definitely,
not something that's going to happen overnight in 6 months or a year or even 5 years. This is a long-term project.
Oh yeah.
It'll take time, yeah.
I want to let the folks out there watching us know that if you have any questions about LISTA, send those queries into info@referencepointtv.com. I'll get them to Mark and Shad. They can answer your questions, and we'll see about, you'll learn more information about the organization, how you can potentially participate, etc. Okay, so let's talk about, there's a national discussion in the U.S. education system with an emphasis on STEM subjects, right? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, I think is what that stands for. And so when you look at the community that you're serving right now, the Latino, the youth, have they been embracive of the education in that realm? I mean, are they looking to learn more about it? Does the average middle school or high school kid in the Latino community think about these subjects and have an interest in pursuing science, technology, math, engineering?
The answer would be not as much as other groups, I would say. I would say that there's room for growth in that area. I majored in business and I went to law school, and I kind of taught myself programming, but for the most part, I would say that that there are certain groups that tend to emphasize STEM more than others, and I would say that to date that hasn't really caught on with the Latino community as much as it could, but there's room for growth.
But the Latino community, in my experience, is very big on education, getting your education, go to school, go to high school, go to college. There's a tremendous amount of support and emphasis
immigrant
there,
groups,
right?
All immigrant groups, I think education, and he'll share with the Iranians, it's the same thing. Education is a way to assimilate and is a path toward upward mobility in the United States. In my father's family, one of his brothers became an engineer. He went to Stanford. His other brother became an attorney. My dad, all four of my dad's siblings, including him, went to college. His mother was a school teacher. She really pushed education on the kids. My grandfather never went to college, but his father was a math professor. So they would push education. They'd force feed it. And that went to me, too. I mean, all my brothers and sisters. And in Shad's family, it's the same way. So the truth is, if you're in an immigrant family, education is, and I don't care if you're Latino, if you're Asian, if you're Indian, Persian, European, immigrants tend to value education in the United States, I think.
Right. But it may not necessarily be focused in the direction of the STEM subjects, is what you're saying.
The honest to God truth is that there are certain subjects that that are almost like easy majors that are not as academically rigorous, but you get a college degree for. And I'm not going to name certain majors, but there's like certain ethnic studies majors and sociology. I think those are great fields to study. But and I think it's great to go to college. It's a huge accomplishment.
Sure.
But you do get a lot of people, majoring in those sort of things.
And if you're looking instead at not just getting the BS or the BA or the MS behind your name there, you want to be looking at where's the growth market. I think that's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and I think where is the growth occurring? And the growth is occurring in science and technology, and it's being applied everywhere. Technology is being applied to manufacturing. Technology is being applied to medicine. Technology is being applied to what the legal profession. Okay, and so within all that context, technology and science and engineering and whatnot really has an impact on all of them. So what you're saying here, or what I'm taking away from this conversation, is that one of the roles for your organization is to get the message out to the community that this is an area that you should be putting some attention on. Come and focus in this area because that's the long-term growth strategy.
And I'm going to go on. You don't necessarily need to have a hard science or like an engineering or mathematics background to work in like the Silicon Valley. A marketing degree or a business degree, you could go work at Twitter or Facebook or something in the marketing department. So one avenue is STEM, and then business majors are also another.
True. True. So we don't have that much more time left in this thing, and I've been asking a lot of questions. I'm going to kind of reverse the role here and have you guys start to tell me some of the things that you think people need to know about, because what we want is we want folks to start reaching out and come to understand how they can benefit from what it is you're doing. So
sure, yeah, thanks. So I would tell the people out there listening to go to our website, listanorcal.com. We have all the information there. I would encourage you to, check out our mission. It lists what we're doing, social impact. We're value integrity, of creating a very friendly and family-oriented culture. So we're encouraging people to get involved with us, to connect with us, and you can do that by going to the listanorcal.com website. We're going to hold other events where we're bringing very successful Latino business leaders and community leaders to share their stories. And our mission is really to inspire, motivate, educate, and empower the next generation of Latino technology entrepreneurs. But we can't do that alone. We need people's support out there in the community to come to our events and to connect with us. So, anything that Mark or me or Chester, Ruiz, any one of our colleagues can do to facilitate the process of getting you involved, we would be more than happy to do that.
And again, it's not just the Latino community.
Absolutely.
You know, what's really interesting, I spent 20 years in the software industry.
Okay.
And so when I first got into the software industry, everything was US based, and you didn't see a lot of non-Americans involved in the activity. And then we've got now we've got the Indian community. It's huge.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
The Central European community. It's huge and involved in technology and writing code and all that sort of stuff. My son works for Skype, and they started in Estonia. Skype started in Estonia.
right,
I mean, so you got all this. So it makes sense that this now is an area that the community you're looking to serve should get involved with and participate in. Well, we've only got another, minute and a half left in the show. So, Mark, I'm going to ask you what last elements that you would like to communicate to the audience.
Well, I'm very optimistic about LISTA. We just started out. We have a huge following. The turnout at the event it exceeded our expectations, and I think that the next 20, 30 years, you're going to see more and more Latinos going into technology. There's a younger population. The median age of Hispanics, Latinos is 27 compared to about 40 for non-Hispanic whites. So
Right.
we're dealing with that factor, because younger people tend to go into technology. And also an interesting statistic, and I don't know the truth of it, but I heard somebody say that actually Latin America is actually graduating a substantial number of engineers.
That's true.
I heard
that's true.
that Mexico graduates about as many engineers each year as the United States. So I think when you look at those factors, there is a growing need for an organization that focuses on getting Hispanics and Latinos involved with technology.
Makes
So
a
I'm
lot of
excited to
sense.
be a part of LISTA.
Yeah,
Fantastic. And so with that, we're going to have to wind up here because we're run out of time already. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for paying attention to this conversation today. And do send your queries to info@referencepointtv.com and go up and look at the LISTA website. This is an incredible organization, and you guys need to know more about it. So thank you for listening to us. Shad, Mark, thank you guys for being here.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Reference Point.